Hello, YouTubers. It's Vicky, and it is Wednesday, December. I think the year's 2012. It's December 19th, 2012. Thought I'd get on here and do a scrapbook layout share. Kim Scrapper, if you were watching, I did get the tag, honey, and I'll do that next. It may be tomorrow afternoon. I've got to get these layouts put away. They're driving me nuts, and it's countdown for me and everyone else who celebrates the holidays. Let's see if I can't get a better angle on this. Maybe that's okay. Okay. So, this is a double page layout. I bet you didn't know that. The background is some kind of cardstock. And I bet you didn't know that either. I'm probably a little odd tonight because I've got about 20 things going on in the background. So I may be a little distracted. The background cardstock is embossed, and it almost is like a Swiss dot embossing, but it was pre-embossed. It's on a 12 by 12. But Carol, one happy crafty chick, if you're watching, the card I sent you, I did emboss that myself with the Swiss Dots embossing folder. Since the card is bigger than an A2 size envelope, which is the size of some of the embossing folders, I just ran it through twice, honey. I embossed one side, ran it through, pulled it out, slid it over, embossed the other side. So Carol, I did emboss that myself. But this paper is almost like that. I have had this in my stash for generations. I tell you, I'm not kidding. I remember buying this paper, and it was like 3 pieces of the Swiss dots, 3 pieces of embossed stripes, and something else, but it was in a package. It had to be when I first started to scrapbook. And what I remember is thinking, oh my gosh, I can't wait to use this in 8 years. Really? Sometimes when I'm on my little shopping sprees and I see something and I'm like, oh my gosh, I gotta have it, I should remind myself of this paper, shouldn't I? Yeah, I gotta have it. I can't wait to play with it. And 8 years later, I'm finally using it. Okay, ooh, look at Wanda. I'll tell you, Wanda's a mess. I'm gonna put her in a girl's home if she doesn't settle down. Anyway, you will see over here, these are from Alpha Beans. This is a sticker from the Doodlebug collection by, no, not the Doodlebug collection, Doodlebug Incorporated, and this is the North Pole collection. This is some of that fun, twinkly fibers that I had in my stash. This little Santa flare is from A Flare for Buttons by Shelly on Etsy. This, I couldn't tell you where those letters came from. Oh, that's like from the Stickabilities alphabet stickers you can pick up at like Hobby Lobby for $1.29. I like to keep them on hand. Oh, this is from Webster's Pages, the Royal Christmas. It's just a little label sticker. This is Alpha Beans, I think. Yeah, Alpha Beans. This is also Doodlebug. This is red cardstock. I typed up my journaling and then went around it with a pen. I don't know why I did that. I used my Signo Uniball gel pens for that. I wish I would have left it alone. You'll see I have 4, 8, 10 pictures. They are 3.5 by 3.5 size photographs. I used Photility software to format my photographs before I send them over to Walgreens.com, and they have this template where you can slide your digital photograph into a little template and size it, crop it down, is what I should say, crop it down to a 3.5 by 3.5 square photograph. I love the 3.5 by 3.5s. So that's what I did with this. All this is stickers from the North Pole collection by Doodlebug. I just stuck them on there. These are also from 107 years ago. I picked them up. It's rub-on stitches. Do you girls remember those? And I am really trying to use old items that have been laying around for years. So I thought that worked well. These little hearts I cut. Ignore that. That means my meatballs are done. These little hearts, I used my Recollection heart punch to punch those out. And I'll tell you what, I've really enjoyed that little heart punch that I picked up from Michael's this year. I hesitated to buy it. It was on sale, but I think regular price is $3 or $4. It's over in their punch aisle. Go imagine that. And I really like that. You'd be surprised how often you can add hearts to your layouts. That's supposed to be like the smoke coming out, and there you go. You got yourself a 12 by 24-inch layout. Let me zoom in. Please try to ignore that beeping. Okay, I can't take it. Be right back. Okay, let's pick up where we left off. I did draw a black line around the outside of this layout. Guys, that flare button is hollow back. I think I saw on her site, it's a flare for buttons on Etsy, that she was now doing flat back buttons, but I just stick 3 of those Zots, like the rubbery, clear, gluey type of adhesives in the back, and it grabs pretty well. I just love Shelly's flares. Yeah, I wish I would not have drawn the lines, but it's okay. This is my grandson on the fireplace with his elf costume. And something's boiling over, so let me come back again. I am a multitasker from way back when. Anyway, every year we take pictures by the fireplace, around the mantle, and this year, this is Nate. In his elf costume by the mantle. And there are the stickers. The journaling reads, Nate, in case you have not read and heard this a million times before, I love you so much. But it's just not the normal love a grandma would have for a grandson. It's even more. I love who you are and how you are. You have the best personality, you're so smart, and you're so kind and thoughtful of others. The elf costume is just one example of why I adore you. When I saw the elf costume, I thought how cute it would be for Christmas, but I never thought you would wear it. I mean, you are 6 years old now. But when I told you about it, I think your face lit up brighter than mine did, and you could not wait for it to arrive. You had no problem in posing for a zillion pictures for your mama. Thank you, Nate, for making my Christmases fun again. And that's the title. You Make Christmas Fun. And guys, when I read that to him, he had tears in his eyes. He really is a sensitive kid. And, I know the look at my grandkid thing. He's adorable or they're perfect. And they must, I think they all are. I remember a t-shirt that said, and I read this years ago, by the way, and I thought, oh, how goofy. It said, I should have had my grandkids first. Well, that's the truth. There's just something so special about a grandchild. And, he had such a good time in this elf costume. When I told my husband and my son I wanted to order that, they said, he's not going to wear that. He's getting too big. You've put him in all kinds of stuff over the years, but he's getting older now. He's not going to want to wear that. And that's true. I've stuck that kid in all kinds of themed clothing. Trains and bears on his shirt for Christmas, elf ears, and he always went along with it. And he's a poser. I mean, the poor kid, when we have the camera out, if you yell to him, he turns around and goes, cheese! I'm not kidding. That's the truth. Because his dad likes to take pictures, and I like to scrapbook them. He don't have a chance, does he? But he was just so good-natured. I said, Nate, Momo found this elf costume. I thought it would be fun to wear it when everybody comes over and to take pictures. And I showed it to him. His eyes lit up and he was like, yes, did we have it already? And then the next morning he asked me, I said, okay, I'm going to order it. And I got online and ordered it from Oriental Trading Company. He wakes up the next morning and says, did the elf costume get here yet? How sweet is that? And that's my boy. I have one more layout to share. Okay guys, this is my second layout that I put together in the past week. I haven't had much time to scrap, but this is a 12 by 12. The cardstock in the background is by Coordinations by Tim Holtz. I love it because you know how sometimes you have pictures, photographs, or pattern paper that is not a true white. It has that ivory or cream background, and you just don't feel right putting it on white cardstock. This was perfect for that, and I think the name of it was Ivory, if I'm not mistaken. This red cardstock I picked up at 2P's. It's American Crafts red textured cardstock. Really like it. It has a nice texture and it's pretty sturdy. The doilies are also ivory. I don't know if that's going to show up in the video, but these are the doilies I picked up from Simon Says Stamp. You'll see this little thing over here, this little house, is from, it's supposed to be a paper clip, but if you clip it onto something, you can't see the entire house. So I glued it down to my doily. This is Brad's from, like, My Mind's Eye, maybe. I picked those up. No, Judy Bakes, 22, sent that to me in a rack. Thank you, Judy. And then this little frame is Recollections brand. These little fonts, numbers on here is the Eric font, and this is the On Trend Thickers. This is Prima, and this is a Recollections brand key. It came in a 3-pack of keys. This is My Mind's Eye, and it's from last Christmas. I picked that up last year. I had my pictures printed in the smaller size, And once again, I used my Fotility software. Oh, I know I'm not going to be able to listen to that, so hang on again. Okay, I'm doing some power cooking. It's 9 o'clock at night, but I've got a busy next few days, so I've made dinner or lunch, whatever, whenever they want to eat it, they can eat it. But I'm making pork chops and I'm making spaghetti and meatballs, and then I'll put those in my fridge and the guys can help themselves over the next few days. Anyway, I inked the edges of this. I was saying the pictures, once again, I used my Fotility software, and I can take my digital pictures, drop it in a template. I can have 6 little pictures on one 4x6 print made. I can have 2 of these size. I think it's like, what would it be? 3? It'd be 2x3. 2 2x3s on a 4x6 photograph. So these 2 pictures cost me 19 cents, probably less. Yeah, it was less because this past week Walgreens had 30% off anything you get developed. So that's what, 15 cents roughly to have that developed. And I usually alter my photos a little bit, clean them up, maybe do the whole red eye thing. These are just printed. I think I hit I Feel Lucky on Picasa, and that's my photo editing software. This is Christmas 2006. That's me in the picture. And listen, long story here, but I'll try to keep it short. This particular Christmas, let me read the journaling. No Christmas could be happier, and no Christmas could be sadder. This was Nate's first Christmas, so what a true blessing he was. It was our last year with our Katie Bug. She had just had surgery, but we all somehow knew that cancer would be back. Katie passed March the 1st, 3 months later. We still love and miss you, Katie. And I still cry when I see their pictures. For 12 years, Katie was in our life, almost to the day. I found her on Valentine's Day, and she and her two siblings, one brother, one sister, was left by a gas pump at a gas station that I had pulled into to get gas. And now this is a while back, guys, because she's been gone for about 2006. She passed in 2007, so it's been about 5 years. But I saw her and the other doggies in this little box, so I go over, I take the box inside, I tell the guy who's there, look, somebody's just left these doggies outside. And long story short, there was an older man in the gas station at that time. He was listening to what I said. His wife ends up coming in. They just had to put their dog to sleep. They took one of the dogs, the puppies. I took Katie, and the young man who worked at the gas station took the other one. And we had all been, talking, and we was like, gosh, I hate to call the SPCA. Will they put them to sleep? We didn't know. And it just broke our hearts. And it was Valentine's Day. And listen, I had just got another dog, my sweet Prancer, and I'll be scrapbooking her picture soon, a couple of months earlier, actually in November. And I was afraid to bring home another dog. I thought my husband would kill me. So I come in, and the boys are younger then, and they're in the driveway, and they just look at me, and they're like, what do you got under your coat? And I said, I have your Valentine's present. So we go in, and my husband's there, and he's like, no, 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 because he knew he had to do that. If he did not, I would have had 25 dogs in my house, strays, and stray people too. So he said, listen, you can keep it till you find a home for her. And I said, okay, I'll go for that. That night, I decided to name that dog after his grandmother, who had just passed a few months earlier. And her name was Katie. And I really loved his grandma. I'm so glad I met him in time to get to know her. So I did that a little bit on purpose, but I looked at Katie and she looked like a Katie, so we ended up keeping her. I mean, how can you get rid of your grandma's namesake, right? Plus the boys were younger and they was like, Dad, can we keep her? And blah, blah, blah. And he had to give in to us. This was the best dog ever. She was like part beagle, maybe, and part lab. She was about 50 to 60 pounds, and you can see there, she's just precious. She had a little cyst on her side. We took her to the vet, and they pulled out about 11 centimeter cyst. The doctor told me, well, the vet, when I took her in, he said, listen, she's 12 years old. This is an expensive surgery. We might get this cancer, and it was a very aggressive tissue type of cancer, but we probably won't, Vicky. It'll probably reoccur, and it's very expensive. Listen, I'm probably still paying that surgery off. It was over $2,000, but I laid that credit card down and never looked back, and then I don't regret it to this day. I loved our dogs. We had Katie, and we had a little rat terrier named Prancer, and she was a year old when we got her because her family was going to send her to the pound. It was a young woman I worked with. They said they couldn't take care of her, blah, blah, blah. Well, once we got Prancer, I know why they got rid of her. She didn't have the sweetest disposition, let's say that, but I loved her. And I'll do a layout with Prancer, but this is one of the first layouts I've been able to do of the dogs because it still just breaks my heart. The odd thing is, we had Katie for 12 years, and well, yeah, we had Katie for 12 years. We had Prancer for 13 years. But Prancer was 14 when she passed. I was thinking, wait a minute, that can't be right. But she was a year old when we got her, Prancer. Anyway, this was just the best of times, the worst of times, because Nate, it was his first Christmas, and he was born in August, and I just couldn't wait for him. But at the same time, Katie passed in March, and Prancer passed away in May. And it was really difficult saying goodbye to those dogs, because I can't barely call them dogs. And the only time I call them dogs are to other people, because we called them our girls. Okay, so I'm going to wrap this up because I'm getting a little teary-eyed here, and I do have pork chops on the stove. So that's me and Nate, his first Christmas, and that's me and Katie, our last Christmas. Guys, I'll be back. I have to do a tag You're It. That sounds really fun, and I'm down for some fun right now. So, wherever you are, Katie Bug, we still love you and think about you all the time. And you guys, I'll be back in a little bit. Thanks for watching.